Good afternoon, and welcome to my May 27th briefing on COVID-19 and how it's affecting our community. This week, we'll hear from the governor on what steps will look like for our state and our county. I'm incredibly proud of how our business owners, our healthcare providers, and employees of the city have adapted to this new reality. We are closely monitoring this crisis and are involved in constant communication and partnerships with local stakeholders to support and respond to the combined public health and economic crisis. We're fatigued, but this is a resilient community. We live in an amazing place with people who care. We have much to celebrate and be grateful for. We're fortunate to have open spaces for people to get outdoors at our parks and on our trails. We have many businesses doing deliveries and restaurants providing warm meals to go, and so much more. This unprecedented situation continues to be fluid, and we're all learning as we go, and I'm proud of how we have adapted. Through communication and partnership we have built with our local public health officials and Island Hospital, we're learning the best ways to strengthen our community's long-term health. We have focused on community health, mental health, and making sure that all citizens have access to all the resources like food, shelter, and medical care. We have an outstanding healthcare community in Skagit County, and we've implemented contact tracing and rapid self-swab testing quickly to support us as we navigate the reopening of our economy. We're working our way through phase 1 of the governor's recovery plan, and we've stayed the course for the last few months. And we're starting to look at how to open up our economy and regain a sense of normalcy and recovery in the long term. We have been in phase 1 since May 5th. During this time, businesses have been creative, finding ways to connect through delivery, online ordering. They've also been extremely generous to our frontline staff and workers. We have all done our part to stay connected in this time by building new partnerships and strengthening connections between our business, the community, and the city. The city's planning department is working with our downtown merchants and restaurants on ideas on how to assist economic recovery and offer our residents a way to reconnect when it's safe to do so. We're looking at ways to expand services onto the sidewalk, creating a town plaza feel to our commercial district. Many of us have heard that the governor is allowing certain counties to move to phase 2. The Department of Health has set standards allowing for variances in Safe Start Recovery Plan. The variance will allow some county businesses to move to phase 2 before the entire state. The application for a variance requires support from the local health officer, the local board of health, local hospitals, and the county commissioners. In application, the county must demonstrate they have the capacity at local hospitals and adequate PPE supplies to keep healthcare workers safe. The application must include plans for making testing available and accessible to everyone in the county with symptoms, staffing contract tracing programs, providing housing for people in isolation or quarantine who cannot be at home, case management services, and the ability to respond rapidly to outbreaks. Many counties in the state are eligible to apply. To be eligible for this variance and move into phase 2, the state requires the county must have an average of less than 10 new cases per 100,000 residents in an over 14-day period. At this time, the numbers do not allow Skagit County to apply for the variance to move into phase 2. In 4 letters sent last week to Inslee, the County Board of Health, the County Unified Command, myself, 7 other mayors in the county, and first responders in the county asked the governor to allow an exception for Skagit County to move into phase 2. This request was denied, however. The county, however, intends to resubmit a request this coming Friday, May 9th. So far, 21 of our 39 counties have received this variance. The request to the governor is based on our local health department's data and confidence in our healthcare infrastructure, commitment to physical distancing, and our concern for impacts on our economy. The unemployment rate in our state of April was 15.4% from 5.1% in March. This significant and sudden and devastating effect on our economy has hit us hard. Out of the state's 39 counties, Skagit ranked 6th for first-time unemployment claims. Through this crisis, our healthcare systems and teams across the county have proven themselves to be resilient and unwavering in their ability to care for each other and every person who needs care. Skagit County has been at the forefront of implementing social distancing recommendations, employing contact tracing, and setting up rapid testing. The governor's current order expires May 31st, and we expect to receive an update this week on what the state as a whole will be doing. Island Hospital has tested 965 people and currently reports 29 positive cases in Anacortes. The total positive hospitalized cases is 7, and there have been no deaths. Countywide, there's a total of 426 cases, 15 deaths, and 50 hospitalized cases. Throughout the state, we're seeing in between 75 to 100 new cases a day, whereas 2 weeks ago, we were seeing over 200 cases per day. The curve is flattening. Our community leaders, our elected officials, our public health workers support the request for the county to move to phase 2 because of our confidence in our robust contact tracing and testing. The report by local epidemiologists citing lower positive percentage test rates than the state is reporting. Our county was one of the first to issue physical distancing recommendations and has been preparing to track and control any outbreak or surges in cases in the county. The county has investigated every case, traced every close contact by doing case interviews, contact tracing, quarantine letters, and referrals for testing, isolation facilities at motels, and more. Our county has a robust public health infrastructure that's been in place since long before COVID-19. We want our residents to know and trust that our healthcare system is prepared. We continue to formulate our decisions based upon science and data, and we believe this cautious, watchful approach has carried us through this adverse stages of the early outbreak and into a more stable, secure place where it's safe to move into phase 2. If we continue to see no fewer than 10 new cases through tomorrow, Skagit County will be eligible to enter the phase 2, and the county, we are prepared to do so. Skagit County has now been operating its high-volume drive-through testing site since late April. This rapid testing site has been testing primarily symptomatic people, exposed people, and anyone recommended to be tested. The testing continues to be available in the parking lot at Skagit Valley College, just east of McIntyre Hall. This is a critical system in slowing the spread of COVID-19 in our county, and they continue to work tirelessly so that now anyone who wants to be tested can be tested anytime between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. There have been over 2,960 total tests conducted, with 77 total positive tests as of May 22nd. As we look at how our healthcare system can take on this pandemic, we are following the goals of testing, antibody testing, treatment, and vaccine. We're now at the point where we have a robust and effective rapid testing system. However, ultimately, we will not have a solution to this crisis in full until we have a vaccine. The level of closures that we're experiencing now through the governor's stay-at-home order has been necessary to stop the spread of COVID-19. Now, as we navigate the new reality, we have to think about how to move forward. A vaccine may not be ready for 12 to 18 months. What does the economy do during that time? Our businesses and our institutions are part of this community and want to see the community healthy and safe. We're closely monitoring the governor's guidelines for reopening and are ready to provide service in new ways that facilitate physical distancing in ways that will not place a burden on our healthcare system, which stands ready and able to care for our community as it has been doing so throughout this crisis. As we eagerly look forward to phase 2, I want to commend the many business owners who are already working hard to implement new systems to maintain workplace safety and public health. Some of these industries are able to operate in limited capacity in some form or another in phase 1, doing remote work, socially distanced work, and essential work. This new guidance being released by the governor's office outlines how these industries will be able to eventually open up in-person services once again and have people return to work. For phase 2, all construction activities have been authorized to proceed. Professional photography services, pet grooming, personal services including cosmetologists and hairstylists and others. Real estate activities are allowed to resume, including sales and mortgage lending, and up to 3 people can participate in in-person activities. Once we enter phase 2, fitness and training activities can resume. These activities must be limited to groups at most of 5 with a trainer or less, plus a single instructor. Professional services such as accountants, attorneys, and architects, and other office-based occupations can return. Certain outdoor activities in small groups, as well as limited non-essential travel, is also allowable. Traditional dining restaurants and public houses will be open with less than 50% capacity, with table sizes of less than 5, no bar seating. Please closely follow these new protocols and procedures being issued by the governor to assure we can get back to business safely. Phase 3 is when we'll have a partially reopening of our in-person services at the city. These partial reopening will be at the Anacortes Library, our museum, and City Hall. Our facilities staff continue to work early mornings and late evenings to disinfect all our city facilities before essential staff arrive or in the process of working on, and we are in the process of working on installing plexiglass shields at our public-facing counter areas. When phase 3 begins, Washingtonians will be able to fully resume non-essential travel, and nearly all other business activities will resume. Phase 4 is when full return to public interaction returns. We will get to phase 4 and physical distancing will not go away. I know that this situation is extremely difficult. We look forward to seeing our friends and our family and our fellow Anacortes residents again. We anticipate that phase 4 will start in mid to late summer. The city has responded to this crisis by maintaining essential services and keeping you informed. We've been working on thinking creatively about building resiliency as we are prepared to respond to any crisis. Our city employees are the cornerstone behind our essential services. While many of our facilities remain closed, such as the library, the senior center, the museum, and City Hall, we're working on ways to reach you virtually and prepare for our return to in-person city services soon. There have been many unexpected outcomes that we as a city and community have experienced. 7 have been devastating job loss, unemployment fraud. The Anacortes Police Department has received several reports of fraudulent unemployment claims from local residents who are still working. If you're a victim, please visit the Washington State Employment Security Department's website to file a claim and closely monitor your accounts for any fraudulent activity. Not all of our unexpected outcomes have been bad. Our businesses have found efficiency in working remotely. The city's adopted more technology through remote meetings and have learned to use technology to find new ways to connect with our residents. We have seen generosity and the community coming together to support one another. We have seen families getting to spend more time together. This is Anacortes, and we're proud to keep working hard to assure that our essential services continue uninterrupted. The library has been working to bring news stories and educational opportunities right to your computer or phone every week, and this week is no exception. This week's Together We Discover video will be played tonight at 7 p.m., and we'll have a glimpse into our local artist studio, and we'll join our artist, Terry McDonald, to find out how to get started in acrylic painting. The library continues to partner with community members to give you a glimpse into hobbies and businesses while we're apart. We look forward to many more in the coming months. As soon as we safely reopen our book drops, and we will do so soon, we will update you as how we move towards phase 3. Next week, the library has invited me to read a book with you, and it will air next Tuesday at 6 p.m. on the library's Facebook page. Find the link to the video on the library website next week, and I look forward to reading to each of you. The Parks Department has been thinking about how our services will change when we move into phase 2. We're preparing to reopen some of our park amenities while reminding our residents and our visitors that physical distancing is necessary when we reopen these activities. In phase 2, Washington Park Campground will reopen. The campground will go to a reservation-only system to keep 1/3 of the sites closed to promote distancing. Pickleball and tennis courts will reopen with a limit of 4 per court. Basketball courts will reopen, also with a limit of 4. And once we reach phase 2, the Park and Recreation staff will evaluate park usage to see what other amenities may be open while we are keeping in line with the state's phased approach. We have started to receive information on how the stay-at-home order and business closures due to COVID-19 will affect our revenue. The city receives two of our major governmental revenues through property tax and utility tax, and they do not seem to be significantly impacted at this point and align closely with our budgeted expectation. Water consumption through April continued a downward trend in commercial sector, down 7.5% from March's consumption. In 2019, during the same time frame, we saw a 7.6% increase in commercial consumption. Multifamily water consumption is up 17% compared to 2% a year ago, and residential water consumption is up 30% respectively compared to 6% a year ago. I think it's because we're all staying home. The sales tax receipts for May are generated from March's retail sales, and those revenues show a 37% shortfall. We also saw a significant decrease in lodging tax, which was received from our hotel, motel, and vacation rental stays. They were down 71% compared to May of 19. We're continuing to closely monitor this information as it becomes available. We are seeing the effects on our retail sales as they decline in several areas. The economic impacts of COVID-19 are far-reaching. Many in our community have been left without a job, and many business owners are anxiously awaiting the opportunity to safely reopen. This is happening in communities all over our county, our state, and our country. Community everywhere like ours are preparing for long-term economic impacts of this public health crisis. The City Council and I are closely monitoring this financial information and are working hard to support our local businesses and our community. Last week, we issued 19 building permits, including 5 single-family residential permits. We did 37 inspections this week, and that's an uptick in phone calls totaling 115. We can tell that our community is ready to get back to work, and we are able to make this happen. This week is the last week for applications to our Small Business Stabilization Grant. This is a way to help with the cost of starting your business back up again soon. To be eligible for these grants up to $10,000, you must be in a business located in Anacortes, have no more than 30 employees. To date, we've received 27 applications, and we'll be reviewing them the first week in June with a committee of Anacortes business representatives. The Washington State Ferry System is reminding us that while we're in Phase 1, customers are advised to limit travel on ferries to essential purposes only and observe social distancing by remaining in their vehicles whenever possible. Those who must travel on the ferries are strongly encouraged to wear a face covering to ensure and promote health and safety of themselves and our frontline employees. Some of the sailings and the number of walk-on passengers may be restricted so that riders may maintain physical distance. It's time to start thinking about how you personally will navigate these phases as well. While many businesses are closely monitoring these guidelines, it's important to think about how you personally will navigate these changes. There are personal decisions we have to make. We have all been living more or less in total isolation, leaving only when absolutely necessary, and staying indoors and wearing masks. The next phase will bring about a change. You may go to the dentist. You can have a short conversation within 6 feet with your friends that you may have not seen in months. And some may return to the workplace. We will eventually start to go out and resume to have dinner with our friends, attend our religious services, volunteer, go to the salon, go shopping. With each of these stages and additional actions, we will increase our chances of becoming ill. We need to judge for ourselves what we are comfortable with and what is safe to do. As we think about these things, how these things might look, as we move into Phase 2 and beyond, I encourage people to consider what their summer may look like. The stay-at-home order will eventually go away, and I encourage people to stay at home until then. Once the restrictions are lifted, consider having your summer in Anacortes. Do a staycation. Experience Skagit County. We have so many wonderful visitors and people that come to our area, and with the decrease of tourism, it may be the perfect time for us to experience Washington. It's a time to start thinking ahead and imagining what we might be able to do this summer. With the restrictions lifted, you might be able to barbecue with your friends, enjoy a camping trip with your family, or just enjoy the beauty of the Northwest. Normally, we share our surroundings with worldwide visitors, and this summer, it's ours to explore. Skagit Transit presents Stuff the Bus food drive in partnership with Safeway. This Friday, May 29th, from noon to 5 p.m. at the Anacortes Safeway store, we challenge Anacortes residents to see how full we can fill the bus with non-perishable food. This is a great opportunity to give what you can for those who are having a difficult time making ends meet and who need support. We want to be sure that in this time of uncertainty, that all those in our community feel secure in their ability to get food for themselves and their families. The Salvation Army Food Bank will be receiving the proceeds from this food drive. I want to give everyone a reminder that wearing a mask is not a substitute for physical distancing. Please remain within 6 feet apart from each other. As we navigate a way forward in our community, we have to acknowledge the gravity and the devastation of COVID-19. There are nearly 1.7 million cases currently in the United States. 1,070 people have died just in Washington state. Globally, there are 5.5 million cases, and the total deaths worldwide are 350,000. This number is staggering, and it's a reminder to all of us why we've been staying home and why we must continue to wear masks. So now I come to what I've been told is everyone's favorite time of my talk. It's questions and answers from the community. So, question number 1. When will the public access computers at the Senior Center and the library be open? The library staff look forward to when they can start a partial reopening of our beautiful facility. Public libraries are in phase 3 of the governor's Safe Start plan. We anticipate we'll be able to include some public access to computers at that time, as long as we can do it safely to protect our patrons and our staff. If you have your own device and the library's broadband wireless is available around the building right now from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. At the Senior Center, Phase 4 allows for resuming public interaction for high-risk populations with physical distancing. So we will not see computer access at the Senior Center until after we reach Phase 4. We're discussing ideas and making plans to improve outreach during Phases 2 and 3, including an increase in virtual programming, possible outdoor activities, and increased contact through email and phone calling to the Senior Center. Question number 2. We have had an influx of out-of-towners. Is anything being done to encourage these people to respect social distancing and wearing masks? We're continuing to encourage the guidance that whenever you leave your home for an essential trip to the grocery store, the pharmacy, or even to go for a walk, you should wear a mask. This is a guidance nationwide, so even those who are not from the area should be aware of the need to socially distance. It's important that everyone in our community and across the country wear a mask to slow the spread of COVID-19. Question number 3. When we hear that there are so many cases testing positive, where do these appear? Was it a result of eating together or at an assisted living place? Island Hospital and Skagit Public Health are updating the city on the current numbers in our area. The county does a breakdown by zip code, and Island Hospital keeps track of our hospital's testing numbers and positive cases. Due to privacy laws and HIPAA laws, which protect a patient's personal information, we do not have public information at that level that is that specific. Our Skagit County Health Department continues to do contact tracing at that level and uses that information to find people who may have been exposed to get them tested, isolated, and recommend quarantine if appropriate. Question number 4. During this pandemic, have you seen an increased need to bring in large department stores? And are we missing out on tax dollars because of this? Not at this time, though maybe in the future if there's something in the community that we're interested in. I'm not able to answer the question regarding the tax dollars because it does not have basis on the project hypothetical tax revenue for a large retail store. There is not enough information to give an accurate projection. However, our local essential businesses have done an exceptional job supporting our residents and our families with supplies they need to stay at home during this crisis. Question number 5. Is Anacortes considering getting a large department store? If so, do you have locations that might work? What is the city doing to attract this type of business? Large retail stores up to 50,000 square feet are permitted by our development regulations. Through community discussion during the update of the city's comprehensive plan, the possibility of new retail options were brought up. The city's council's planning committee did an in-depth analysis, and ultimately the city council made the decision that large retail alternatives are not preferred because we would produce noticeable environmental impact, be inconsistent with the design standards of our community, increase public safety costs and risks, as well as having an adverse effect on our existing retail. The city's current policy is to encourage the development of small specialty retailers that provide goods not currently available in our community. The most recent development regulation update limits the maximum size of any one retail use. Number 6. From the material I've read, the city's urban growth plan is to allow for more vertical growth, at the same time allow less room for cars. Has anything been done in the urban growth plan since the pandemic? Have people's comments been evaluated and responded to? No action has been taken relating to the city's growth since the pandemic started. We are still working on concerns regarding the height of the R4 zone, though the governor's order has put much of this work on hold. The city's growth plan includes modest residential infill opportunities to facilitate more opportunities for people to live downtown and nearby. When people are able to live in a pedestrian-friendly neighborhood near where they work, shop, dine, and recreate, it will help reduce reliance on cars, which has an environmental and economic and social benefit for all of us. And that concludes my questions. In conclusion, today we sit in this awkward, agonizing waiting time for it to be over, time to move to phase 2, out of patience, out of money, but overall we've maintained our health. I yearn for normalcy. I also know the world has changed through this pandemic. I choose to focus on the good that's come from this, the kindness and the generosity of Anacortes as we've taken care of each other. All of us gathering around the class of 2020 and celebrating their accomplishments, the generosity of community members to create, financially support, and hang the class of 2020 banners on Commercial Avenue. I also want you to know at the city, we've not only continued to maintain essential services, we have found creative ways to continue the work for our citizens. We telework, we have found new partnerships with our business community and our health providers. We have focused on creating a vibrant commercial district, assisting all businesses to be successful as we move through the phases. We've worked to maintain our parks, our farmers market, and we'll be hanging flower baskets this Friday on Commercial Avenue. We've worked with the Chamber, the bank, the SBA, our state and federal legislative partners to find resources of revenue to help our businesses. Our council meetings continue every Monday night. We take care of essential functions of the city, and we're looking forward to having the council chambers open and having the community discussions and public hearings on issues, projects, regulations that are so important and required for our city. As this pandemic has prevailed, we have not lost track of what we're working on when COVID struck. Street improvements, our shoreline master program, critical area regulations, our new depot restroom area, supporting a thriving maritime industry, our partnership and projects with the Port of Anacortes, the next phase of the Grimace Channel Trail, our court systems, our police, fire, and EMS systems, services, our development regulations, our high-speed internet, our plan for a community recreation center in partnership with the Fidalgo Pool, Grandview Cemetery expansion, and our continued commitment to safe water and wastewater utility. These are just a few of the projects and the issues that we continue to work on every day during these unprecedented times. We're Anacortes. We will prevail. All 17,610 residents, 7 council members, and 1 mayor. Thank you for joining me here today.